Hey guys, this is Myleik and this is the podcast. So, I'm always spotting something on social that I want to talk about. Today is no different. And I saw something along the lines about, the thing about entrepreneurship is that you stick with it when nothing's working. And something like that. And I should have gotten the exact thing, but I felt like when I see things like that, I'm always thinking, is that true? Is it not working, or might there be something else at play? And that's what we are going to talk about today. And we're going to build some skills, some tools, some ideas, whatever it is you need, I got you. But what do you actually mean by it's not working? And I think people mean one of two things when they say this. And I'm willing to be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but not for the sake of this podcast today. I feel like when people say that, they mean it's not making money, or I'm not getting any applause or validation. But ask yourself, are you saying it's not working because you haven't gone viral, or because it hasn't replaced your full-time income yet, or because people aren't clapping or liking or yes girling what it is that you're doing? And just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's not working. A few things I want you to keep in mind as it relates to business and social, and we're going to expand, but 81% of small business owners say it took over a year to start turning a profit. Okay. That's just about everybody, 81%. Content creators have said that on average, it takes 6 to 18 months to see consistent traction on content-based platforms like podcasts, YouTubes, or newsletters. And I know I've seen many people start their YouTube and the first one has like 3 views or 10 views, and you just stop because you had this idea that everybody, or even if you had a following in one place, people were going to follow you there. Or even if you've never done this before, people, more than X number of people, are going to be tuning into what it is that you're doing.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. How can you free up your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders to not only streamline purchasing, but better support their teams so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more about the technology, insights, and support available at amazonbusiness.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
90% of creators, don't make enough to support themselves full time. And that's from Stripe. That's from Stripe, who is really, clocking these dollars. So most people are not making enough to support themselves full time. And so the beginning of a lot of what you might be doing is probably going to be quiet. It's supposed to be. The audience, the impact, and the income often show up after you've proven to yourself that you're committed, whether or not anyone's watching. And that is where I see most people quietly quit. Not because they didn't think they had something worth sharing, not because they weren't talented, but because it's hard to keep showing up when you feel like no one's clapping, looking, watching. Commitment feels expensive when you don't have confirmation, and you start saying things like, what's the point? Is anyone even paying attention? Why am I doing this again? And those are fair questions. They're human questions because we are wired to seek reward. We post, we launch, we share, and we want some kind of signal. Send me a sign that it's working. But this part, this middle, this quiet, slow, very unsexy phase, this is where your real work is. And I'm just going to say this to you. If you need applause to keep going, you won't go far. If you need income right away to justify the effort, you'll quit too soon. If you need your impact to be visible right now, you'll miss the deeper roots that are quietly growing under the surface. This is why commitment is rare. It is not because people are lazy. It's just because most of us have never been taught how to keep going without external validation. But I got you today. Those who do, the ones who can create in the quiet, keep showing up and build before anyone's watching, those are the people who tend to win long term. Because they've done the one thing that most people don't master. They prove it to themselves first. Let's talk about what's working. There are lots of signs that this is working and you are growing that aren't loud. One sign is you're getting better. Remember when you first started, how weak you were on Canva, or how bad the video edit was, or how the launch was just a mess and you didn't have your system set up? Remember that? You're getting better. You're showing up more consistently. This one's my favorite. You're figuring out what doesn't work. We do not give enough credit to figuring out what doesn't work. And I'm going to segue for just a second. When you start thinking about why people might charge something that they do, or, when I had Curlbox, my online business, I could pretty much tell a client, after several years of doing this is what's going to work. This is what's not. This is the size that's really going to hit. These are the types of box and product combinations that are going to be most popular. This is the timing that works. And it's like, why I know that is because I figured out what doesn't work. This is the dollar amount, the value that we need to have. And so you're figuring out what doesn't work, and you're also building resilience. You're building that stay in the game muscle. If you're measuring success by money or attention too early, you'll miss the quiet wins, okay? The real success often starts in the silence. This is why we always feel like somebody came out of nowhere, right? Quietly building. Now we see them. So let's talk about you not needing more praise and you probably needing just a little bit more commitment. Motivation is loud. You see it all the time. There's this one video that's circulating with the mouth tape and everything that's just cracking me up. And I'm like, is this supposed to be getting people going? But yes, motivation is loud. It gets you started. It's the spark, the hype, the playlist, the mood board. It's intoxicating, but it fades. It always does. Commitment, though, is quiet. It's not exciting. It doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It's what's left when the feeling is gone. Most people quit not because the thing they're doing isn't working, but because they're waiting to feel good before doing it. They're waiting for motivation to return, for clarity to magically appear, for the algorithm to reward them, for applause, for proof. But commitment is doing it even when it feels like no one's watching, when you're tired, when you're doubting, when you're second guessing. And I just want to say it's not working is often code for it's not working fast enough for my ego. People know that I've been doing this or that I am a certified master XYZ. So I want it now. It's got to work now. We want results while we're still high off the excitement. We want the world to cheer while we're still in the trying phase. But that's not how real things are built. Real things are built typically in the quiet with the repetition. In the days when no one sees the post, listens to the episode, signs up, or says, wow. If you need the crowd to stay consistent, you're not committed. You're still chasing that motivation. And so to shift this, move from asking, do I feel like doing this today, to what would a committed person do today? The work begins when the spark fades. That's where most people stop. And that's exactly where you need to start showing up again and again, because commitment compounds. And what you build in the quiet becomes undeniable over time. And so I want to spend some time. Okay, Miley, you just came at me. You just called me out. All right. Tell me, what am I doing then? how do I keep showing up when I feel defeated? When it feels like no one's watching or caring, or when I'm doing the thing and it's just not landing. So you're telling me when I'm doing it and it's not landing, it's still working. I want to make sure you know this isn't just about social media. It's also entrepreneurship. It's about building something that matters from scratch. Your ideas, your work, your offers, your business, whether you're a solo creator, a coach, consultant, artist, or entrepreneur, this applies to you. And if you are none of those things and you want something to shake, it's for you. Because if you're building something on your own, you will face quiet seasons. You will question yourself. You will hit that wall where you wonder, is this even worth it? So let's talk about how to stay in it. I've got 4 good points to get you to stay in the game. So, number 1, I want you to start with what my friend Dr. Becky calls an emotional vaccination. I learned this from her when it came to parenting, and it will apply to you. So she says when we have children, I think I've talked about this before, but when we want to just prepare our children, emotionally vaccinate them for what might happen. So if we're taking them to the doctor, instead of surprising them, if they're getting a shot, it's like, go ahead and fess up and tell them, be honest. This is what's going to happen. Let's prepare. This is how it might feel. If you cry, I'll do this. I feel like we can do the same emotional vaccination before you launch the offer, share the post, or put the product out into the world. Spend a moment with yourself imagining how it will feel if it doesn't go the way you want it to or the way you hoped it would. This isn't being negative. It's being prepared. It takes the sting out of the disappointment. It takes the surprise out of it. You're saying, if no one buys, if no one comments, if it's slower than I thought, I'll still be here. You are building your capacity for discomfort. And that is what not just entrepreneurship, but any endeavor, anything risky requires. Just, I'll still be here. Number 2, make a plan beyond the first try. One launch isn't the whole story. One post, one pitch, one newsletter, 1 week of sales isn't the full picture. So what's your plan if it doesn't hit right away? Are you going to share it again? When? Will you revise it? Will you test a new approach? Will you check the timing, the packaging, the clarity? Entrepreneurs who last anticipate resistance. They don't fold at the first dip in engagement or sales. They adjust. And not always, I know what I don't want you to become is just like highly reactionary. It's just data. It's just noticing. It's just, I'm going to do it again. And even if it hits, I'm going to do it again. Maybe today just wasn't the day, but you don't throw away a dream just because it had a quiet start. Number 3, I want you to get some trusted feedback. Ask someone who's in it to take a look. Someone who understands business or creative work, not just aesthetics. Ask, would you buy this? What would you make clearer, tighter, stronger? Is there anything confusing or missing? I always say this, me and my partner, we call it second set of eyes. Second set of eyes, just like I know that there's no way that I'm able to always see everything myself. Second set of eyes. This isn't about insecurity. It's about iteration. Businesses are built in drafts. Okay. You don't have to guess alone.
This episode is brought to you by Audi. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV. It's a new way to experience driving. The all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron is here. The next chapter of Audi starts now.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Ann's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnn. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Number 4, I want you to stop obsessing over short-term metrics. You might not believe this, but I do not check the number of likes on my post or almost anything I do unless I have to. I don't spiral over one slow sales day, quiet posts, quiet episodes, because I know it's working even if I can't see it yet. The person who needed your offer might be sitting with it for a week. The investor, the brand partner, or client you're dreaming about might be watching silently. The long-term impact you're creating won't always show up in the short-term data. And that is something that I really used to hammer down to. I worked with hundreds of hair care clients and beauty clients during my time at Curlbox. And I used to say to the clients, because people want, what's the ROI? They want to know everything in the moment. And I would always say to them, we may not see the impact of this box in the first week or 30 days, right? This might be a year thing. It might be longer. And so entrepreneurship is not a straight line, and metrics, especially in the beginning, are often misleading. You can have a small audience and a huge impact. You can have low engagement and still build trust. You can have one offer that doesn't land and another that changes your whole year because you stuck with it. Stop staring at the dashboard like it's your lifeline. Keep building, refining, but most importantly, keep trusting your voice, because this is a game of staying power. You have to build your muscle to stay in the game, not just when it's fun or profitable or getting praised, especially when it's not. That's when you really have to put your head down. And I think that's kind of what the post was saying too, right? So let me just give the post credit because it did make a point, but I just wanted to run off a little bit. This is the part where most people run. This is where most of the long-term success is built. Commitment is the muscle. And if you strengthen it now, it will carry you through every phase of business. Quiet launches, missed goals, slow growth, pivots, pauses, rebuilds. Because commitment doesn't ask, do I feel like doing this? It asks, who am I becoming by doing this over and over again? So, if you're in that place right now where you've said it's not working, let's pause together and ask ourselves, is it really not working? Or is it not working as fast as I hoped? Or is it not visible or as loudly or with as much ease or applause? Because there's a difference. There's a version of you on the other side of this season, and this version of you is stronger, clearer, even more grounded, because you didn't quit when it was quiet. You kept showing up. You got honest about what mattered. You stopped chasing motivation and start building your commitment muscles. That's where your momentum lives. That's where your confidence is forged, not in what they say, but in what you do when no one's watching. I'm sorry, y'all. What you do when no one's watching. So I have a challenge for you. This week, ask yourself one simple question. What would a committed version of me do today? Then do that. Not perfectly, not loudly, just consistently. Because the impact, the audience, and the income, they're not waiting for the most talented person. They're not. They're waiting for the one who refuses to leave when it gets quiet, the one who keeps going, the one who proves it to themselves first. You got this. And I rarely say that. I know you have this. Forward this to whoever needs it. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and I'll see you next time.